Are there certain things that you either should or shouldn't diffuse, or you should cut it in half or in quarter, or is there any guidelines as far as, like the size or age of people or anything like that?
With animals that way, you would, babies, infants, children, you want to be careful of as well. So cutting that in half. Elderly, we want to cut that in half because processes have slowed down. We're not producing certain things. There's, hormonal shifts, neurological shifts. So we want to just be mindful, and in aromatherapy, there's dilution ratios that we follow. And so, I have dilution ratios in my book. I have it, in some of my social media and my website. So it's a nice guide. You got to see it sometimes to understand it. But basically, you want to follow just, a minor. So for example, in a 2 ounce, if I'm making up a spray, in a 2 ounce, I might do 20 drops, total drops. So if I'm using 5 essential oils, then I'm only going to do like 4 drops of each, right? In a normal blend. But for children, for elderly people with sensitivities, highly sensitive, they're in a chronic health condition, I'm going to cut that in half or lower, like for cats. And, you don't want to be diffusing around birds. You have to cover their cage, keep it away from them. They cannot handle it. Guinea pigs, hamsters, everybody's got all the, ferrets, they got all their animals out. So we have to keep them safe. So, you would cut that in half. But then at the same token, like if I slept on my neck wrong and it's like really tense and it hurts really bad, I might need to do more than 20 drops. I might need to do 30 drops, but I'm only putting it on one area for a short period of time. So it's not going to be a long-term use. So yeah, there is. And then additionally, you have to know the person. So for example, somebody on blood thinners or taking blood thinners, there's certain herbs and oils that contribute to that, cinnamon being one of them. So for somebody on blood thinners, or they bump their skin, the elderly, they got really thin skin, or people going through chemo radiations have very thin skin and they bump it and they bleed instantly. You would not want to do a lot with cinnamon essential oil, even through inhalation, or any products that had cinnamon in that, because it contributes, ginkgo, is another one, ginseng. Those are natural blood. They have natural blood thinning. Now, if you put cinnamon on your toast in the morning and you just sprinkled a little bit, you probably are going to be okay. We just have to look at the severity. We're talking about, more than like a half a teaspoon of something typically. But I don't want you to say, oh, but Jennifer said that's okay. It's not okay. You have to know the person. I'm just speaking in generalities that way. So you do need to know what is going on, so the contra indications. Rosemary, for example, it creates blood pressure. It creates movement. Sometimes you need heat. It's like homeopathic. You need heat to kick the heat. But sometimes you got to not put any heat in at all. And so that's when we wouldn't do rosemary. We would do like a rosemary verbenone or an ylang-ylang, a flower, that would calm that down. So there are some guidelines. So, aromatherapy is fun. It's easy. I don't want to make it seem intimidating or too, complex, but it is comprehensive. So that's why, having the right training is important before you use it. And I always say you start with yourself. You want to start, using it so you become familiar, so you have a testimony, you have experience when you're sharing that. I'm also the vice president of the National Association of Holistic Aromatherapy. And so our whole premise is awareness and education. You have to be educated, because we don't want to be ignorant and arrogant in anything that we do. We share what we know. And if we don't know, that's why we have each other. We collaborate. You have your specialty, I have my specialty. This is where we can create an amazing community. We don't have to have all the answers, but knowing where we can get them, that's really important.